Evelyn, a wealthy woman known for her success and powerful presence, finds herself unfulfilled despite the life she has built. She has a grand house, cars, and the admiration of many, but beneath the surface, she feels a void. Her thoughts often drift to her father, who vanished from her life when she was a young girl. She remembers his warm smile, his comforting embrace, and the watch he wore every day, a treasured possession he once told her was special. One day, Evelyn visits the hospital for a routine checkup. As she steps through the bustling corridors, her gaze falls upon an elderly man seated near the waiting area. His clothes are simple, almost worn, and his hands show the roughness of years of hard work. But it is not his appearance that stops her in her tracks. On his wrist, she sees a watch, her father's watch. The sight of it brings a rush of emotions and memories that nearly overwhelm her. She is taken back to the nights they spent watching the stars, his stories of resilience, and the way he said, "One day, this watch will belong to someone who truly understands its worth." Staring at the watch on the stranger's wrist, Evelyn's heart races with a strange mixture of disbelief and desperation. She wonders how this man, a stranger in every sense, could have such a significant piece of her father. Is it possible he might know something about her father's life after he left? Could he somehow be connected to the man who meant everything to her? Driven by an intense need for answers, she decides to find out who this man is. She begins to ask questions around the hospital and learns he is named Sam, a frequent visitor to the hospital due to health issues. She discovers that Sam has lived a hard life, scraping by and surviving on what little he has. He seems worlds away from the life she leads, yet something about him feels familiar, almost hauntingly so. As she gathers more information, Evelyn's heart aches with uncertainty. Could this man be her father, the one who had once been her entire world? The thought is too painful, too fragile to hold on to. She returns home that night, memories of her childhood swirling in her mind, her heart torn between hope and fear. She knows that to learn the truth, she will have to confront Sam directly. But the mere thought fills her with both dread and anticipation. The following evening, Evelyn returns to the hospital. Her heart beats faster with each step she takes toward the waiting room where she last saw Sam. She carries a blend of curiosity and apprehension, unsure of how he might react if she asks about the watch. Taking a deep breath, she finds him sitting in the same spot, lost in thought. Summoning her courage, she approaches and sits nearby, silently observing him for a moment. Sam's worn hands rest on his lap, his face marked by lines of age and experience. She clears her throat softly, and he looks up, his eyes tired yet kind. There's a moment of silence, almost reverent, as if he senses her need for something she cannot put into words. "I noticed your watch," she begins, trying to keep her voice steady. It looks exactly like one my father used to have. It meant the world to him." She pauses, watching his face for any sign of recognition. Sam's expression shifts, a flicker of something raw passing over his face. He glances down at the watch, and a faint, almost wistful smile forms on his lips. "This watch," he says softly, "has been with me for many years. It belonged to someone very special. He was a good man, hardworking, and he left it to me as a reminder." The weight of his words sinks into Evelyn's heart, the possibility too real to ignore. She feels an ache, a longing to know if he is indeed the father she lost, the man who had vanished from her life. Trembling slightly, she presses further. "What was he like, this man?" she asks, her voice a whisper. "Did he have a family?" Sam meets her gaze, and for a moment, it seems as though he's looking into her soul, seeing every part of her that she's hidden. "Yes, he had a daughter," he replies, his tone heavy with regret. "He loved her more than anything in the world. But life, sometimes it doesn't give us the choices we want. Sometimes we have to walk away to protect the ones we love." The words pierce her, each one unraveling memories she had tried to bury. She realizes, with a surge of emotion, that this man before her might truly be her father. Unable to contain herself, Evelyn's voice breaks as she speaks. Could you be my father? Sam's face softens, his expression one of profound sorrow and affection. He reaches out, his hand covering hers gently, and nods. I am, he says quietly. I've watched you grow, Evelyn, from a distance. I'm so proud of you, of everything you've become. Evelyn feels a rush of relief and anguish, years of unanswered questions flooding her heart. Tears spill down her cheeks as she clings to his hand, feeling the connection she had longed for all her life. In the days that follow, Evelyn visits Sam at the hospital regularly. Each meeting brings them closer, unlocking memories and emotions that had been buried for years. Evelyn begins to understand the depths of his sacrifice, the years he spent in solitude, watching her life from afar. She learns that he had worked tirelessly, doing any job he could find, just to stay nearby and ensure she had a better life. Every sacrifice he made was an act of love, though it had been hidden from her for so long. During one of her visits, they sit by a window overlooking the city. The hospital room feels small, yet the presence of her father fills it with warmth. Evelyn recalls moments from her childhood, moments she'd almost forgotten, and shares them with Sam. She tells him about the times she'd lie awake, wondering where he was and why he had left her. She speaks of her loneliness, of how she'd clung to every memory of him. His laughter, his comforting words, the feel of his rough, calloused hands as they held hers. Sam listens in silence, his face etched with regret. He lets her words sink in, his own emotions threatening to overwhelm him. Finally, he speaks, his voice choked with sorrow. I wish I could have been there, Evelyn. I wanted to be more than you'll ever know. But I thought you would have a better life without me. I didn't want my struggles to hold you back. Evelyn reaches out, taking his hand in hers. She squeezes it gently, trying to convey the forgiveness she feels in her heart. I don't care about the struggles, Dad. All I ever wanted was you. All the success, all the wealth. It means nothing without family. The two sit in silence for a moment, letting the truth of her words sink in. Sam feels a warmth he hasn't felt in years, a sense of belonging and acceptance. He realizes that, despite his mistakes, his daughter still loves him, and that love has endured through years of separation and heartache. Evelyn's visits continue, and with each one, they grow closer. She brings him small gifts, things that remind her of their time together when she was a child. A book of his favorite poems, a hand-knit scarf like the one he used to wear. Each gift is a piece of their past, a bridge between the years lost and the present they now share. Sam treasures these tokens, knowing they represent her forgiveness, her willingness to rebuild their relationship. One day, Evelyn brings a small meal, homemade and simple. She sits with him, sharing stories over the food, her laughter filling the room. Sam joins in, his own laughter rusty from lack of use, but genuine. For the first time in years, he feels like he is home. Evelyn's presence, her compassion, and her determination to rekindle their bond have given him a second chance, a chance he never thought he would have. As they part that evening, Sam gazes at her with tear-filled eyes. Thank you, Evelyn, he says softly, his voice full of emotion. Thank you for giving me the chance to be a father again. Evelyn smiles, her heart full of warmth and gratitude. You've always been my father, Dad. I'm just glad we finally found each other again. As the weeks pass, Evelyn's visits to Sam become a routine, one she looks forward to with an anticipation she hasn't felt in years. The more she learns about the man who had once been her world, the more she finds herself rediscovering a piece of her own soul. Sam shares stories from his life, tales of hardships, resilience, and the deep love he had for her mother. He speaks of how he had to make the painful decision to leave, knowing it was for her future. His voice shakes at times, but there is no regret, only an overwhelming sense of longing for what could have been. Evelyn listens intently, her heart heavy with sorrow and understanding. She had never truly known the depth of his love. All these years, she had lived thinking he didn't care, that he had abandoned her for no reason. But now, she realizes the sacrifice he made was out of love, out of a desire to give her a life he could never have provided. It's a realization that leaves her both devastated and grateful, her heart aching for all the lost years. One evening, as the sky outside turns a deep shade of orange, Evelyn sits with Sam in the small hospital room. The room feels like their own world now, a space where time has slowed and everything else fades away. The only thing that matters is the two of them, reconnecting after decades of silence. Sam's hand is in hers, and they sit in comfortable silence, watching the sunset. Evelyn turns to him, her voice soft but filled with determination. "I've been thinking a lot, Dad, about what you said, about the life you wanted for me. I know you wanted me to have a better life, but the truth is, I don't need all this." She gestures to the luxurious things she's accumulated over the years. Her designer clothes, her fancy car, her lavish home. "I've spent so many years chasing success, trying to fill a hole inside of me. But none of it matters. What matters is family, and what matters is you. I want to help others, Dad. I want to make a difference in the world, just like you did." Sam's eyes fill with tears, a mix of pride and sadness. "You're the person I always hoped you'd be, Evelyn. I'm so proud of you, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not being there when you needed me most." Evelyn squeezes his hand, a warm smile spreading across her face. "It's not too late, Dad. We still have time. I want to help you. I want to take care of you now. We'll make up for lost time, together." The next few days are a whirlwind of emotions. Evelyn begins to take action, using her resources not for luxury or comfort, but for those in need. She donates to charities, helps fund hospitals, and even starts working with organizations that focus on underprivileged communities. It's a new chapter in her life, one she never imagined herself living, but it feels right. She feels a sense of peace that she has never known, a fulfillment that comes from giving rather than receiving. As the months go by, Evelyn continues to visit Sam, bringing him small gifts and spending time talking about their memories. Sam's health begins to improve, and with each passing day, he grows stronger, more at peace with himself. He tells her how grateful he is for her, for giving him a second chance at being a father. It's a gift he never thought he'd receive. One afternoon, as Evelyn sits with Sam in the garden outside the hospital, they share a quiet moment. The sun is setting, casting a golden glow over everything. Evelyn watches her father, her heart full of love and gratitude. She realizes that the greatest gift he could have given her wasn't the money, the luxuries, or even the watch. It was the love, the sacrifice, and the chance to rebuild what had been broken. In that moment, she knows that nothing else matters. All the success, all the achievements have no meaning without the people who truly matter. Sam looks at her, his eyes shining with unshed tears. "I've spent so many years thinking I'd ruined everything, that I couldn't make it right. But now I see that we're finally where we're supposed to be. You've forgiven me, Evelyn. And that's all I ever needed." Evelyn nods, her voice thick with emotion. "I never stopped loving you, Dad. And I never will." As the sun sinks lower, the two of them sit together, side by side, knowing that their bond is unbreakable. They may have lost time, but they've gained something far more precious, each other. As the months pass, Evelyn's life begins to transform in ways she never imagined. She becomes more than just the successful woman she once was. She becomes a person driven by something deeper, purpose. She focuses her energy on helping those who are struggling, dedicating her time to making real changes in her community. She partners with various organizations, personally overseeing projects that provide food, shelter, and healthcare to the underprivileged. There is no more chasing after wealth or fame. Her priorities have shifted to what truly matters: making a difference. But her heart remains anchored in the relationship she's been rebuilding with Sam. They spend more time together, with each conversation bringing new revelations and deeper connections. Sam's health improves significantly, his spirit lifting with every visit. He shares more stories, details about Evelyn's mother, and what he had hoped for her life. Evelyn listens intently, hanging on to every word, as she learns the depth of her father's love for her mother, a love that had been a beacon for him throughout all those years of separation. Despite the growing closeness between them, there are moments of painful silence. Evelyn sometimes wonders if she had been wrong to judge him for leaving all those years ago. She questions whether she would have been a different person if he had stayed. But in these moments, Sam always reassures her. His eyes, full of sorrow and regret, speak volumes without words. He has always loved her, and the years spent apart are a wound neither of them will ever fully heal, but it's a wound they are learning to live with. One afternoon, Sam asks Evelyn to take him to the park near the hospital. It's a quiet, peaceful place, a place where they can sit together and simply enjoy each other's company. As they walk through the park, Sam speaks of the dreams he had for her, the plans he made that never came to fruition. He talks about how he wanted to teach her to fish, to share his love for the outdoors, and how he hoped to be there when she got married and had children. His voice breaks as he says these words, and Evelyn feels a knot form in her throat. I wanted to be there for all of that, Evelyn, he says, his voice trembling. But I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't think I could give you the life you deserved. Evelyn looks at him, her heart swelling with compassion. You were more than enough, Dad. You gave me something that no one else could, a sense of who I am. You gave me my strength, my resilience. I may not have had everything I wanted, but I had you. That's more than enough for me. They sit on a bench beneath a large oak tree, the late afternoon sunlight casting long shadows across the grass. The quiet of the park envelopes them, and for a moment, they don't need to say anything more. They simply exist together, as father and daughter, reconnecting in a way that neither had thought possible. That evening, as Evelyn drives Sam back to the hospital, she feels a sense of peace settle in her heart. The weight of all the lost years still lingers, but it no longer overwhelms her. She knows that they are building something together, something that will endure, no matter how much time they have left. She is no longer searching for answers or closure. She has found them in the most unexpected place, in the love that still exists between her and her father. But their journey isn't over. There are still challenges ahead, still lessons to learn, and still moments of pain to face. Sam's health continues to decline, and Evelyn knows that their time together is limited, but she refuses to let fear dictate her actions. She continues to visit him, sharing more memories, telling him about her life, and learning about his. She makes sure that, in the time they have left, they will create as many new memories as they can. One evening, as Sam's health takes a turn for the worse, Evelyn sits beside him, holding his hand. He looks up at her, his eyes filled with gratitude. I'm proud of you, Evelyn. You've become the person I always knew you could be. You've found your purpose, your heart. I don't think I'll ever be able to thank you enough. Evelyn's heart aches as she gazes at him, but she smiles softly. You don't need to thank me, Dad. You've already given me everything I needed. As Sam drifts off to sleep that night, Evelyn stays by his side, feeling the weight of their journey together. There's no more regret, no more anger, only love. And in that love, she knows that their bond will remain forever, even after he's gone. She will carry him with her, in her heart, for the rest of her life. As Evelyn watches her father grow weaker, the harsh reality of their limited time together becomes painfully clear. She continues to visit him every day, sitting by his side, holding his hand, and talking about everything and anything. Their conversations have become less frequent as Sam's health deteriorates, but every word they exchange feels more significant than the last. One evening, as the setting sun bathes the room in a soft golden light, Sam looks at Evelyn with a mixture of gratitude and sorrow. I'm glad I found you again, Evelyn. I wish I had been the father you deserved all along. But I know I haven't been. Evelyn gently brushes a stray lock of hair from his forehead, her heart heavy with emotion. You've been more than enough, Dad. You don't need to apologize. We've spent so many years apart, but in these moments, I've come to understand everything. You didn't leave me because you didn't love me, you left because you loved me too much. You wanted me to have a better life, and for that, I will be forever grateful. Tears well in Sam's eyes as he holds onto her hand tighter. I never thought I'd get the chance to hear you say that. I'm so proud of you, Evelyn. You've done everything I could have ever hoped for, and so much more. The words are simple, but they carry a weight that no amount of time could ever diminish. Evelyn smiles through her tears, squeezing his hand in response. She wishes there were more time, more years to make up for all the lost moments, but she knows this is the reality they must face. She will treasure every second they have left, savor every word, every glance, every shared memory. As the days go on, Sam's condition worsens. Evelyn refuses to leave his side, staying with him through the night when he can no longer manage to sleep without pain. She speaks to him softly, reminding him of their love, telling him stories about her day, about the changes she's made in her life, and how she is living with a renewed sense of purpose. One night, as the clock ticks past midnight, Sam takes Evelyn's hand in his voice weak but clear. Promise me something, Evelyn, he whispers. Promise me you'll keep living the way you've been, living for others, not for the things the world says are important. Evelyn nods, her voice trembling with emotion. I promise, Dad. I'll live for love, for kindness, for the things that really matter. Sam smiles, his eyes tired but full of peace. I'm ready, Evelyn, ready to rest. But I know I'll always be with you, in your heart. That night, Sam passes away quietly, his hand still in Evelyn's, his last breath a whisper of peace. Though the loss is unbearable, Evelyn feels an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the time they shared, for the love they rebuilt, and for the man who gave everything for her. In the days following his passing, Evelyn arranges a small memorial for Sam, a celebration of his life and the legacy he left behind. She reflects on everything he taught her, not through words, but through his actions, his sacrifices, and his unwavering love. It is a legacy of humility, of resilience, and of unconditional love that has shaped her into the woman she is today. At the memorial, Evelyn speaks to the small group of people who had known her father. She shares stories of his kindness, his generosity, and his quiet strength. As she speaks, she feels a sense of peace wash over her, knowing that Sam's love and wisdom will continue to guide her in all that she does. If you were touched by this story, make sure to click on the card to watch more incredible, heartfelt stories. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment below with your thoughts on this journey of reconciliation. I love reading your comments.